All right, Dev with Crime Hive. And it's nice to have some resolution to a case as we're talking about the Delphi murder case and a suspect in custody. I learned about this on Halloween. And you're looking at the suspect here, Richard Allen, 50 years old. And by many accounts, it sounds like he was just hiding in plain sight. I keep reading articles about he just blended in. From what I understand, he was a CVS pharmacy technician and just led this really unassuming life, according to many people. Just wasn't on the radar with police. Even the sheriff had interacted with him, seen him, heard him, and just didn't have that spidey sense that, hey, this person seems off, or there's something up with this person. So really interesting. There's obviously a lot more details that we want to know because the affidavit, the probable cause affidavit, is sealed right now, which would reveal a lot of information on how law enforcement actually went about making this arrest, what evidence they have. There's a lot of chatter all over, and I certainly would like to go deeper into these videos. And but for this, just a broad overview of some things related to Richard Allen here. And you're looking at this photo, it's just odd that there's this wanted sketch of him, and he's just right there. Again, he apparently hung out at this bar often, and the bar owner and his wife, they were just friends with Richard Allen and his wife, and he's got 2 kids. So he's got this family. Apparently he seemed kind. He was fairly quiet, but just, an amicable type of person. And, he's hanging out at this bar all the time, and people are seeing him coming and going. And a lot of people have said that the sketch really doesn't resemble him. And then if you remember, those last two, well, the photo and the audio of him, right? A lot of people just couldn't connect the dots that this person was Richard. And, and then we remember from the camera, right? You've got our victims. And I can't remember if it was Libby or Abby whose phone had these images, but luckily one of those girls was able to take footage and audio of the suspect, right? If you remember, I know a lot of us remember this footage. This is a 5.5-year-old case, and they finally made an arrest. But of course, police on the phone, they found the grainy footage of the man walking on the bridge, who was later, police believe is Richard Allen. And then the audio, if you remember the audio, just that brief audio that I'll play real quick here, again, for everyone. Down the hill, right? Those famous words, down the hill. And again, a lot of the people that knew Richard Allen didn't recognize the voice, didn't think it was him. It makes you wonder if he altered his voice, if he changed it, or if it was just the quality of the video there. So there's just a lot of questions. Some questions that I've been wondering about, and maybe some of you have done some additional research and know some answers, right? Some answers with this case. One of those questions being, he was a CVS pharmacy technician. Did he have access to drugs? His wife was a veterinarian. Did he obtain potential drugs from the veterinarian hospital, or were the victims, were there drugs in their system? It doesn't seem that way from the case, but very curious to know what kind of resources law enforcement are using. It sounds like law enforcement from other articles had found DNA. Have they already linked that DNA somehow? If they did, how, right? We have just a lot of unanswered questions right now in this case. There's some documents on Reddit. I definitely want to go through some of these with y'all later. This is a probable cause affidavit. A lot of information in here. I want to go through that later as well. This is about search and seizure. So there's just a lot of information And then another couple questions that really emerged here. Let me see if I can find. This was really interesting. If you guys happen to look at Crime Door, there's a little 3D reenactment of the crime scene, and this is really an emerging technology, with the 3D technology. So it's really interesting to see the landscape of this case and what it looks like. You can watch that on YouTube. And then there was another interesting aspect when I was reading. It might have been this article here, allthat'sinteresting.com. And I believe they said that in the past in Indiana, they were only able to take DNA samples from suspects who had committed a felony. And they were looking to change legislation to now anybody that's a potential suspect, whether they've been whether they committed a felony or not, police can then obtain DNA for a potential suspect in Indiana. This is different in all states, and there's just so many different laws and all that. But I thought that was interesting, and I'm curious if anybody listening is in Indiana, if you know if they've actually enacted that law, or if that's still in the making. The sketches again just didn't seem to resemble him. And then I thought this was also interesting here when we have the photo of them on the bridge right before they went missing. And I didn't know this, but apparently there are people that think that somebody may have been hiding in the woods, kind of lurking. It's kind of grainy footage here, but it looks like a shadowy figure here was potentially already lurking, watching the two young girls as they were walking along that bridge. And I don't know if any of that was later used by law enforcement, but you got to realize that now that they have him in custody, we're going to start to really see the technology, such as cell phone records, right? That's huge. I mean, if he's got a cell phone off the towers, the location at that time frame, they're going to be able to pull all those records. And so I'm really curious to see if he was in that area at the time right now, because he's a suspect right now. But obviously, if they made an arrest, they have something, whether it's that DNA, whether it's cell phone activity, other subpoenas that we're just not aware of right now that may have emerged. But what do you all know? Anything else about this case, or anything that you'd like me to talk about or discuss on another video? I'm just happy that someone's arrested and we have some sense of resolution, yet we still need to understand more. There's still a lot of why behind all this, and it's a little murky still. So